Welcome to Used Car News Podcast. Used Car News is your top source for fast and reliable news that car dealers can rely on for this evolving industry. Here are this month's top stories. Wholesale prices dip, but conversion rates rise. NIADA fights state's starter interrupt legislation. New York dealer receives fine, probation for tax scheme. But first, we sit down with Aaron Hancock, Director of Product Management at Leadventure.
Welcome, everyone. Today is the new edition of the Used Car News Podcast. My name is Jeffrey Belant, Managing Editor of Used Car News. And today we have a special guest is Aaron Hancock, who is Director of Product Management for Fraser and Dealer Car Search. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Glad to be here.
Great. Glad to have you here. Obviously, you guys operate under the umbrella of Leadventure, so you guys got a lot of resources, a lot of product solutions under that. But we're going to talk with Fraser and a Dealer Car Search today, if that's good with you.
That sounds great. Perfect.
Now, it's funny, full disclosure, Fraser Computing had been our advertiser of ours for a while, so we knew Mike Fraser, and it was interesting about them, what's good about them is they had just a great brand. I mean, he was well-known, could have been a retail politician if he wanted to be, and that's not an insult, that's a compliment. But you'd go to a car convention, you'd see the black shoes, black slacks, black polo with the yellow and red logo, and you knew who it was, you knew the product. So for you guys to acquire a Fraser, you both have a challenge because you want to keep the reputation and that customer base, that loyal customer base, but you also have an opportunity that you guys can probably offer a lot more resources into it than Mike could have. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're spot on. It's definitely a challenge because we want to hold that brand that's really trusted in the market and the great things that Fraser has represented, for a long, long time and the value that Fraser brings to the dealer base, and also find a way to incorporate and tie in the value there and the great products of Fraser with the resources that Leadventure brings to the table, and the other brands, the other product lines that can be brought together to make an even greater product of value to dealers. So that is the goal. That is something that we've worked meticulously hard to try to find different ways to do that, and have lots of things down the road that we'll be able to bring to the table and have bigger conversations about, for sure.
Yeah, and we're in a better spot right now because, maybe 10 years ago, dealers were getting into digital and stuff, but obviously with COVID, even those who were like old school pen and paper, they were, pulled kicking and screaming into the digital world. And so that part of it makes it a little bit easier because that's part of the business now. How do you guys work with dealers in terms of whether they're new to this digital world? And DMS is not new, but the idea of giving them the service they want, but also helping them to connect with customers.
Yeah, I think, for me, the important thing is to really help dealers understand how the market and the car buyer is evolving. It can be really easy to get really focused on your process and the way that you've done it and the way that you've done it for years, right? And it's worked. And, that can continue to work in some cases, but it's also important to recognize the changes. And what is going to be necessary in order to attract new customers. There's a new type of customer, a modern car buyer out there that is wanting, they desire to do things differently because they do things online. They do things in a digital world all day long with every other aspect of their life. And then if they walk into a process, to buy a car or buy a house or buy any big purchase, it's very different. It's very different than going on Amazon and buying something, having it delivered to your house. It's a very different process. So not to say that it has to be that all the way, online and digital. I mean, that would be great for some people, I'm sure. But there's this middle ground, this transition point that I think it's really important for dealers to understand. We need to start taking steps towards that. We need to start walking towards where the consumer is, and the consumer is more and more online every day.
It's funny. I think about something like, and not the same thing, but something like DoorDash. I don't do DoorDash or anything like that. When I'm 50, late 50s, it's like the only thing that you got delivered when you were younger was pizza. That was it, And now my wife works at a place where the front end girl will order a Starbucks by DoorDash. I'm like, it's just baffling to me. But again, everybody wants service in a different way. So now you're dealing with DMS. How's DMS changed in times? Because obviously DMS is a long time staple of dealers, but obviously what has improved about it in recent years?
Yeah, so I think one of the bigger changes, improvements in the DMS space is the way that data can be used to drive decisions and help dealers automate some things or understand better their situation with their inventory. I mean, obviously with COVID, we were all baptized by fire in this concept of I've got inventory on my lot that I can't keep or that I don't want, or I can't get inventory. I can't, it was all over the board. Right. And depending on who you were and where you were having a different challenge. And so, the importance of having the right inventory and having the data to help drive that and back that up is just becoming more and more important for dealers to have access to that. The other aspects, there's compliance challenges
for sure,
out there that dealers have always faced, but it's just more and more complicated, right? As we evolve as a world, right? It's getting more complicated by the day. So having the ability to help dealers overcome some of those compliance challenges and making sure they're staying proactive there is really important. And then security is another, big aspect, right? We're always chasing security challenges in technology, in the whole technology space. And so making sure that dealers can continue to operate their business with the trust and be able to have faith that their DMS is going to be secure and compliant and giving them the information they need.
Yeah, you think about, you're exactly right, because compliance and security, they're kind of hand in hand, because if you don't, you got to have compliance anyways. If you don't have security, then it's going to go bad for you for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you guys hear from your dealers? Do they have concerns, whether they're different or not? But what are some of your dealers' top concerns when you talk to them?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest concerns that we've heard and the biggest challenges out there has been a little bit of a challenge for a while, but having the right amount of staff to take care of the business, right? To run the business and operate. That tends to be something that we hear pretty consistently as we've reached out to dealers and done surveys and had conversations. And so one of the goals that we have at Frazier and Dealer Car Search is to try to make the process more efficient for dealers to operate and run, right? So how can we?
I gotcha.
We can't necessarily bring staff to right. We're not in that business, but what we can do is find ways to make it easier for the staff to operate and do these functions, right? Add inventory and manage leads and do those things that we provide a service for. So we've taken that approach and we're looking at all of our products and we're saying, okay, how can we make this more efficient, easier? How can we solve some of these challenges that dealers have on a regular basis and make it a better process for them so that they can do more with the staff that they do have? And knowing that we want the dealer's staff to be focused on selling the car, right? Not updating some data in a system, right? And sometimes those are connected, but if they're not, we don't want them to have to spend time doing that if we can make it more efficient.
And related to that, is there something that you guys have learned that maybe this is one of the things that, there's always products you say, "Ooh, I want to do this for dealers." I think about as a writer, word processing, and they put 1,000 features on there and I'm going to use 3. For you guys, is there anything on there that the dealers that maybe you thought you had available to dealers and maybe it's not the thing they want, and that helps you kind of streamline what you do?
I think there are always opportunities to learn when we release new products.
Yeah, getting feedback, obviously.
Yeah, right? we should always be and are always asking the questions about when we release a new product, is this meeting the need of a dealer, right? My approach to product discovery and to understanding the needs of the market is to find those opportunities that aren't being met. Yeah. And then build products to meet those needs, right? Rather than building things and saying, building a new feature into Dealer Car Search and saying, okay, here's this great idea that I had. Right. Now let's go get everybody to use it. That may not even be close to meeting a need that people have. So I really focus more, and my team focuses more on having conversations with dealers, understanding the pain points and what's really causing them to have challenges on a daily basis, and then looking for opportunities to help them meet that need, overcome that need. And what we find is that really helps the dealers a lot more than us sitting back and saying, hey, we've got some great ideas, let's go build them. And, one example of this, I think, is we have a background removal product for our vehicle images, right?
Okay.
And so it's an AI powered product, but it serves a really great need for dealers because it can be hard to find a spot on the lot to take a photo that doesn't have something in the background. And this product will remove all the things behind the vehicle and present it on either a blurred background or another image that just elevates the value and the quality of the photo to the level that you want to have on your website. And so that's a product that we put together after we recognized the need that dealers were having this challenge of finding really great places to take pictures on their lot.
Yeah, that's true. And that you want that kind of consistency, that regular thing, as opposed to, cars park, take a picture of a car in the snow, and then the next time it says in the springtime or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Wholesale used vehicle prices dipped slightly in early February, with the Manheim Used Vehicle Value Index down 0.2% from January. Non-adjusted prices rose 1% month over month, but showed weaker than usual appreciation. Electric vehicles, EVs, saw the highest depreciation, down 6.4% year over year, while luxury vehicles performed best, rising 0.4%. Conversion rates improved with an average of 59.8%, up from 57.9% last year. Wholesale supply remained tight at 27 days, consistent with January, but 6 days below long-term averages. Overall, market trends showed mixed performance across vehicle segments. The NIADA is opposing Montana's proposed Senate Bill 364, which would require a warrant to activate starter interrupt devices on vehicles. The association argues the bill would harm consumers and dealers by increasing cost and delaying repossession processes. Starter interrupt devices used with consumer consent help subprime customers access credit and create safer repossession conditions. Meanwhile, the U.S. Treasury Department has suspended enforcement of the Corporate Transparency Act, which required businesses to file beneficial ownership documents following a court ruling. NIADA continues to monitor legislative changes and update members through its communications. Guy Kennedy Nicholas, owner of G&A Auto Care Inc. in New York, was sentenced to 5 years of probation and fined for stealing over $160,000 in sales tax by underreporting more than $2 million in taxable sales from 2013 to 2023. His business received a 3-year conditional discharge. Nicholas and the company pleaded guilty to felony charges, admitting to failing to file most annual sales tax returns. They were ordered to repay the full amount owed. Authorities emphasized the importance of holding businesses accountable to protect resources for essential public services.
Tell us a little bit about Dealer Car Search, because I know you guys do a lot of stuff with dealer websites and things like that. What are you hearing from dealers about what they need in that aspect?
Yeah, so it's about quality and consistency, really, with their digital storefront presence and making sure that the website is a high quality website. It has valuable information on it that consumers can go and find what they need, right? And these are all just basic needs of a website, but that they don't have to do a lot of work to do it, right? So our job as a partner to our dealers is to make it as seamless as possible for them to have as high a quality product represented on their website as possible, right? It should be an extension of their dealership, of their lot for them. And we want to drive the user to be able to do the things that they want to do, like starting the buying process online, being able to research and find out more information on a particular vehicle. And we're always looking for new innovative ways to do that so that the dealers don't have to spend time thinking about that. They can spend time doing the thing that they do best, and that's selling cars and building relationships.
Yeah, I was going to say Cox Automotive come up with that their car buyer's journey or whatever. And that was one of the issues that come up. It's funny how things have changed, and now it's like 60 something percent customers are like wanting to do stuff online, whether it's a credit app or, not just the car searches, but a credit app or anything like that. So that's both good because you want to get them started. But of course, it does make a tech challenge for the dealer. He needs to be able to provide that service.
Yeah, it does. And it's also important for dealers to understand how to hand off between online and in store, because we know not everything is online.
Right.
For our car buying process. So sometimes that transition from online to in store can be challenging, and it can be awkward for the car buyer when they've done all this work online. They've gotten a pre-approval, they've submitted credit apps, they've, all these things. And then they take that step into actually go to the dealership and go on the lot. And then maybe they have to start all over because the information wasn't there, or the person doesn't understand all the things that they've done online already. And so our goal is to bridge that gap and help dealers understand what they need to do to get closer to the consumer, to hand off, and make that a smooth transition. And so that's one of the big focuses for us is to really identify those areas and help dealers overcome them.
That's great. Yeah. It's funny. I was reading another report. Ipsos had the global trends, which is a really broad, big thing. But they were talking about how, people are really concerned about technology too much. And then on the other hand, 70% think we need technology to make things better. So you really you're pulling at both ends for that, I think.
Yeah. And you've got a real mixture of people, like you said, that want technology to be involved. And then there's a whole slew of folks that don't. So you got to be able to balance that and meet the consumer where they are at any given point in time.
Now, obviously, compliance is always going to be an issue. I don't think that's ever going to go out of business, and that obviously provides companies like yours to serve dealers. Is there other things that you're seeing currently, that your team's seeing currently in the marketplace, either is something you have to look at, is a challenge, or something that dealers need to think about that maybe they don't see because they're not looking at things like you are? And I don't know if it has to do just with the economy or inventory or whatever.
Yeah, I do think inventory levels are always going to be something that we have to watch, that dealers are focused on. I do think some of the geopolitical challenges that we do have, the economy, like where the economy is going to go over the next however long, right? And how the tariffs are going to impact costs and prices of different things. Those are definitely challenges. And I think everybody knows of them, right? But we don't necessarily know what is going to unfold from those. So it's something that we're watching as, partners for our dealers to try to understand better. And I know our dealers care, a lot about how that might impact them from, a financing standpoint for their inventory, to keep their inventory on the lot, or to their consumers. Like it's going to impact everyone across the board.
Yeah, I was thinking about compliance too, especially because even as you assume with the new administration, they're going to be backing off with CFPB and stuff like that. The state's attorney general or state attorneys general, they're not going away. And they're always investigating businesses. Dealers are always honestly a target because of the deep pockets that they have and because of taxes and the whole aspect of the dealer world. So obviously compliance has got to be something that dealers are always concerned about, or they should be. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I think anytime there's any kind of political change, you can count on new compliance things rolling in, right? It's always there's always this evolution of what compliance looks like. And it depends on the state. It depends on the county. It depends on, what zip code you're in sometimes. It's so complicated. And it depends on where the buyer is and all these different factors that it can be very difficult for a dealer to keep up with that. And so, it's important for their partner to be able to be on top of that and help drive, the making sure that they are compliant, making sure their software is compliant, and their what they're doing is not going to get them into a world of pain down the road.
Okay, cool. And we're heading near the end of this. For you guys, obviously, we talked about the challenges and how meeting buyers' needs, meeting dealers and buyers together. Mm-hmm. What gives you optimism? I mean, what are you guys feeling good about in terms of not just product you offer, but just the market you're in and the dealers you have as customers and acquiring new customers?
Yeah, I'll say this. One thing that has just really impressed me in my time visiting with dealers and having conversations with them is how much they really care. Every single dealer that I've met with cares not just about their business. They obviously care about their business, not just about selling cars, but they care about the people that are coming in to buy a car. And it's not just a transaction. This is a relationship that they're looking to build with people that have a need, and they're looking to meet that need. And so I think there's this challenge with, any kind of a sales kind of person or a sales, position sometimes of being all about the sale. And the car dealers in this space have been completely the opposite of expectation there. They are all about the person that's coming onto their lot to buy a car. They're all about that relationship and helping that person out. And I really think that is something really special and something that excites me to help them, help the dealer, right? We want to partner. That's our goal, is to be a partner of the dealer and help them be successful in what their mission is.
I guess that's really good also in that, the dealer's not just coming to you, hey, I want to churn and burn. And now right. You're actually getting some help on doing some stuff that's going to make, I would assume, you guys more successful, because if they care about the customer, then they want to meet the customer where they're at. And you having an understanding of that is actually, I would assume, helpful to both sides.
Right. Yeah. We all want to help each other be successful ultimately. And, our goal is two-part. We're helping the dealer, but we're also helping the car shopper, and finding that balance and being able to bring those two together. We've kind of got this triangle of partners going on. And I think that's a great way to think about it, is that we're all working on getting closer, pulling in, and being able to, streamline the processes and make sure that every step of the way, people are experiencing less pain and more value.
Awesome. That's a good place to end there, Aaron. Aaron, again, we've been speaking with Aaron Hancock, Director of Product Management with Frazier and Dealer Car Search. Definitely you want to look him up. I appreciate like, again, the insights into the whole digital realm, some of the tools you're doing that dealers are dealing with, and just, again, how do we navigate this area we're in? There's a lot of stuff going on at the same time.
Jeffrey, it's been great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Aaron Hancock. And this has been the Used Car News Podcast.
Thanks for listening to Used Car News Podcast. Each month, we'll bring you fast and reliable news that car dealers can rely on for this evolving industry. For a free subscription of Used Car News, please go to usedcarnews.com. This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. Make sure to share us on social media and like and follow wherever you get your podcasts.